The thaw began unexpectedly. For years, the region had been covered in ice, a vast, uninhabited stretch of frozen land that seemed to hold nothing but silence. The ancient burial ground had remained hidden under layers of snow and frost, untouched by time. Historians had speculated about what could be buried under that immense glacier, but the truth was far stranger and far more dangerous than anyone could have predicted. No one expected the first body to be discovered, least of all me. I had been sent to the site as part of a team studying the shifting ice patterns, hoping to learn more about the climate changes that had been occurring over the last century. It was supposed to be a routine job. We would map out the ice flow, take some core samples, and return home. Nothing special. Nothing unusual. But then we found something. It wasn't in the plan, nor was it part of the research we'd been sent to do. As the ice melted back, something else emerged, something that shouldn't have been there. At first, I thought it was just debris. A stray rock, a tangle of old roots, maybe even some sort of animal remains. But as we approached the area, it became clear we were looking at a body. A perfectly preserved body. It looked as though it had been placed there recently, the skin intact. The features still visible despite the centuries that must have passed since its death. It was almost too perfect. The air around it felt heavy, and there was an odd stillness as though the world itself was holding its breath. As I examined the body, I realized this wasn't an ordinary discovery. This wasn't just a person who had died and been preserved by the cold. This was something much older, and it wasn't alone. As we continued our search, we found more dozens of bodies, their forms frozen in time, each one telling a different, tragic story. Some had been laid to rest with care, others in strange, unnatural positions. They were arranged as if placed there intentionally, their eyes wide open in silent terror, faces frozen in expressions of anguish. The more bodies we found, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a burial site. It was a graveyard of secrets. But what could have caused this kind of mass burial? And why had these people been so carefully preserved beneath the ice? Our team began to investigate further. The bodies were incredibly old, far older than anything we could explain. But their condition, the way they had been preserved, was baffling. The flesh was intact, the bones undisturbed, like they had been frozen at the moment of death and locked in place by the ice. But there was something more, something darker. As we dug deeper into the site, we uncovered more disturbing evidence. Among the bodies were objects, strange artifacts that appeared to be part of some sort of ritual. Unusual symbols had been carved into the bodies of some of the deceased, and there were markings in the ice around them that seemed to form a pattern as though they were meant to be placed in a specific order. This wasn't a natural burial ground. This was the scene of something far more complex and far more sinister. It soon became clear that these people hadn't just died. They had been killed, but by whom? And why? As we pieced together the evidence, we began to unravel a chilling truth. These bodies, these people, had been part of a ritual one that was designed to freeze them in time, to trap their souls beneath the ice for eternity. But the ritual hadn't been completed. Something had gone wrong. The bodies had been left to decay under the ice, hidden from the world, waiting to be discovered. And now, with the thaw, they were being released, freeing whatever dark force had bound them to the earth. As the bodies were uncovered, strange occurrences began to happen. Our equipment started malfunctioning, communication with the outside world became distorted, and a cold, oppressive presence seemed to follow us wherever we went. It was as if the ice had never truly released its grip on the land or on the spirits trapped beneath it. At night, we could hear whispers, faint and indecipherable, carried on the wind. A strange energy had begun to seep into the camp, a malevolent force that grew stronger with each body that was unearthed. And then, one night, one of our team members went missing. We searched the camp, calling out, but there was no sign of her. That's when we found her deep in the ice, lying in a strange, unnatural position, her body frozen just like the others. Her expression was the same as the others' eyes wide, frozen in terror, but her body wasn't the only thing that had changed. The markings on her skin were different now, more pronounced, more alive. The symbols that had once been carved into the other bodies were now moving, as though they were alive, writhing beneath her skin. It was then that we realized the true horror of what we had uncovered. The thaw wasn't just releasing the bodies, it was releasing something else. Something that had been buried with them, waiting, watching, and now hungry for freedom. The ritual had been a trap. These people hadn't just been buried, they had been bound by dark forces, their souls imprisoned in the ice, unable to escape. But now, with the fall, those forces were awakening, and they were coming for us. With each body uncovered, the energy grew stronger, the whispers more insistent. The land itself seemed to be shifting, as though something ancient and powerful was rising from beneath. We had awoken it, and now we would have to face the consequences of what we had unleashed. The ice may have melted, but the evil beneath it was far from gone.